So we're back out here. We got good lighting. We have heat. We have a coffee. We got a fresh tank of MIG mix gas. Today, we are going to be cutting the floors out of the Beetle. I have to take the pedals off, so the clutch, the brake, the gas pedal, and then we're gonna go ahead and come in with the Sawzall in here, get as close to the center there, to the frame support, come all the way back, and cut it right there at the back, and then we'll go ahead and tidy up the cut and remove the rest of it. Let's go ahead and get that done. I'll throw some gloves on, I'll finish this coffee, and let's get at it. The pedal assembly out. We're gonna put all this hardware into a little hardware bag. You can see the lip here where the floor sits on top of. So we'll just see how the rest of it comes apart. So brake line's gonna come out for sure. We just finished layering the new pan on top of the old pan. So I'm just looking at where I'm gonna cut it. We'll cut it somewhere here, and then we'll come along and trim it after. This end sits on the center of the frame, and then the back sits on top of the support. We'll cut it further back, and then we'll do a finalized trim afterwards. Let's get at it. Oh, I found the fuel line. I'll just rip it out from underneath, and we'll cut it at the front and the back. Fuel line is out, just ripped it all out of there. Let's go ahead and start sawzalling again. The car has no floors. We're gonna go ahead and trim the leftovers here and try to get right down to the frame. We'll also have to vacuum this rust that's inside here. You have to rust proof the whole inside of this, but the frame itself is solid. Finish up the trimming there at the back, test fit the pan, and then we're gonna hit it with some zinc primer. So let's go ahead and move some stuff. I have a little bit of a tear here. Put the floor pan across it and probably put a piece of angle iron here just to reinforce this little section. But the frame itself is solid, so it's just the seam that ripped through. We're just getting underneath the metal that's spot welded, and we'll go all the way back there until the point where we need to run the Sawzall again. We've got both sides prepped. They've both been cleaned up. I ran the flap disc along both sides, and then I ran the wire wheel with the drill, got the corners and such, wiped it down, hit it with the zinc primer, both sides. Now we're gonna go ahead and drop the floor pan on. From factory, they tack welded it every 1 inch or so. We'll do the same thing. We'll start off somewhere here, just keep the material cinched up. And or we might actually start back here in this corner. So we'll throw a tack weld here and then just keep moving along every few inches and then come back and fill it in. So we'll have a tack weld every 1 inch, and then we're gonna hit it with a seam sealer. This corner also needs to be welded, but it's gonna be welded from the underneath since we don't have access from the top. The frame head itself is solid. I don't see an issue with it, but there is spots here, like over here, that's weak. So we're gonna have to add a piece of angle iron here to reinforce that. And I also wanted to put a plate underneath it to give it some extra strength. So I might do a template out of cardboard and take it over to the metal supermarket and get them to cut me a plate the same size as the frame head with the extension piece that can come underneath the actual frame, and then I'll just tack weld it in a bunch of spots and maybe fire in some bolts through here. That'll give it some extra structure in the front end. because sometimes it is a bit questionable with older metal. I mean, it might look good. It's good with the hammer, it doesn't move, but reinforcing it's not a bad idea. You can see it's welded there, and there was a tack weld here, another one there, another one at the front. So I just came through and rolled this edge over, so now there's not much of a rise, probably about a 1/16 gap, if that. Most of it's touching most of the way. So now we can go ahead in here, we'll take the wire wheel, we'll take off the excess paint that's here, so we get a clean surface. We're gonna go ahead and tack weld every 1 inch all the way down the perimeter, and we'll also have to weld underneath here like we stated before. Once that's done, we'll hit it with the paint. We'll probably let it cure overnight, and then tomorrow we'll hit it with the seam sealer. So we're probably gonna leave it off after tack welding it all in. So let's go ahead and get that done. We just finished up with all the tack welds, as you can see. It's all tacked in. Same thing on that side. You can call them spot welds if you want. They're tacks. The rear is welded as well. Underneath, I welded both sides. I had to add a little bit of a shim because it wasn't really resting on it. Next step is going to be just wire brush everything, hit it with some paint, let the heater run for a little bit, and we'll let it dry overnight. Alright, so we just hit it with the zinc primer, so that's all covered up. Back here, everything's looking solid. I'm very happy the way it came out. So, next step, after doing all that stuff, is going to be the seam sealing. We only got 2 tubes right there, so I might have to get some more. Once the seam sealer is done, we're going to get ready to either do the front suspension, steering, and brakes, and just finish off the front end, or we're going to pull the motor and transmission and the rear axles. So drop it in the comment section below. What do you want to see? The motor, transmission, the drivetrain section of it, or the front suspension? Let me know in the comments, and then we'll give that to you in the next video. Cheers.